Hey, gang, you're once again up front with Frank Rothstein on Sky's Crescent Radio. As always, skyscrescentradio.com, SKYES, in case you forgot. We're broadcasting live on YouTube. We are also sharing it live to Facebook. So, youtube.com/Sky's Crescent Radio, and you will see up front with me. Same thing on Facebook, up front with Frank Rothstein, live on there and on the Sky's Crescent Radio channel. We are also storing and playing all the shows on Spreaker.com. That's our podcast service. We also go on to iHeart. We also go here, there, and everywhere. So keep track. We can be heard in a lot of places. Sitting with me as usual, looking so serious today in a very startup, electric-looking, Disney-like background, is of course Jade Zabrick, who's been redesigning and redoing her studio to include all kinds of cool instruments and stuff and new buttons to push and all that. So everyone wave to Jade or wave to your phone and she'll see you. Believe it or not, she can see you. So anyway, it's been an interesting week. You know, the Olympics are on. The Olympics are on, and my events are starting now. I love watching downhill, the skiing, the downhill racing. I love it. Giant slalom, all that stuff. That's my favorite of the events for the winter session. Somehow curling, I don't know about that. Even though it's been around a very long time, it's just not my thing. I a lot of people make fun of it. It's tough to do. I mean, if you actually watch the curlers, the people who are sliding the stone around before they start sweeping the ice to make it go where they want, you got to do. Every time I start talking, a fire truck comes by. Have you noticed this? Do you hear that outside? Every time. Well, Jade's saying no, you can't hear it, but it's annoying. That wait, yeah, give it a minute because they're coming down my block. Come on, at least bring pizza. Anyway, so the people who do the curling, the actual athletes, if you ever notice the position they're in when they start to slide, shut up, when they start to, there they go. And I don't want to hit the mute button because why should I deny all of you my special effects that I do not pay for? Effects by nature. Yeah, they get into this stretch position. You have to really work on stretching your hips and getting all kinds of range with your legs and everything. It's not easy to do. I mean, I could not do it. But it's just not quite my favorite of all sports. Maybe at 3 in the morning when there's nothing else on, I may turn it on for a little bit. Me, I go into the ski events, ski jumping, downhill racing. I'm a happy. Anyway, so it's all getting going. Things are going okay. Now I'm enjoying the Olympics and, of course, boxing as always. So what is going on? Well, I'm not really talking about too many of the bigger stories on the news today because you can get that from anywhere. I talk about things that, as we know, are not really on the front pages, that are maybe not capturing the world's attention as like a lightning boom strike event, but I do find things that are sort of interesting. At least I think they're interesting. And I'm going to start with today because, as we mentioned last week, they were banning certain books in Tennessee and Texas, Mouse being one of them, anything to do with LGBTQ, anything to do, slavery, books on slavery, books on a lot of things that I guess aren't. I don't know why. Really, be quite honest. But that's you having that a lot. But so much so that's really ticking me off about it is they're burning books in Texas. I got this not Texas, in Tennessee, my fault. They're burning books in Tennessee. And, I got this from February 3rd because I don't talk to you every day. So, I store up my stories, my personal Facebook page, which acts more like a filing cabinet for me than anything else. But yeah, they were burning books in Tennessee. And that really comes from one thing. That they tried that about 80 years ago, 80 or so years ago. Eventually it didn't work. I mean, this is a tactic that is used out of control or fear. Burning books, anything to do with what it's well, like I say, I don't understand it. And you could look up the books that are being burned. You could look up the books that are under question, so to say. But that's what's happening in Tennessee. I mean, that's what Nazis did. That's just what happened. That's what Nazis did. And so, yeah, um, yeah, it's that's a big thing. It starts in one place. And if it's allowed to continue, it moves to another. And that is something to keep an eye out for. And I don't have to go into the full story, the full list of books, or any of that. They're just burning books in Tennessee, and that's a pretty not good, not good. This was done by Mount Juliet pastor and pro-Trump conspiracy theorist. That's what it's, and his name was Greg Locke, and that's what happened. I'll just tell you that one of the books that were burned were Harry Potter and Twilight. That's okay. There you go. Well, that's the first story. I think that's something that should be kept an eye on. I think people should not just go along with whatever their spiritual leader says. I know sin comes from the Bible. I know God is speaking to you from the Bible. At the end of the Bible, or in the beginning of the Bible, there's a little thing on the bottom in fine print telling you the publishing company that sends it out to you, that prints it up. And there are so many different versions of the Bible. You have Old Testament, New Testament. You have a Bible for different churches. You have, I'm Jewish, there's a Bible for us. There's a Bible for everyone. I have a Bible in my house. I do. I have a Bible. Someone thought enough of me years ago to give me a Bible. I think it's the St. James Version. The Bible personally lost me after page 1. After God said, "Let there be light," sort of like that. Yeah, I'm not a very religious guy. I mean, I respect all practices. I respect people's right to find their comfort in anything that brings it to them. Whatever gets you through your day is good by me. Worship any way you want. Go to a church, go to a mosque, go to a synagogue, sit by a tree, sit by the ocean, sit in your house by candlelight if you want to, do anything you want. But never, to me personally, it's never blindly follow anyone about what you're seeing, because somebody is talking about burning books, and there's a crowd around it cheering it on. Think about that for a second. So I'm looking at some of these stories this week. Some I can believe, some I can't. Oh, I'll get to the most vile story of the week in a few minutes. I like to build up to that one. I was looking at a story on February 3rd, which can affect your health care. And it's not a matter of medication you're taking. It's not a matter of how much, which doctor you can use. But it is a new law coming out, and the headline says, and I got this from, I can tell you now, from NPR News, that therapists say a new law requiring upfront costs estimates could discourage patients. So there's a new law coming out that says the cost of services rendered must be estimated and provided ahead. You have to know, you get to know it in advance. Now, I'm not really quite sure, you know, depends, I guess, on who's going to the doctor. Um, if there's a typo, if they just simply make a mistake, if they're telling people the absolute truth and someone can't afford it, they may not go to seek medical care. That's just what it could be. And I'm looking at this article here. It says, arguing that the rule is burdensome and unnecessary, mental health providers wrote the January 25th letter to the Department of Health and Human Services seeking an exemption from the good faith estimates for routine mental and behavioral health services. 11 groups signed it, including American Psychological, I can't even talk today, Psychological Association, the National Association for Social Workers, the American Psychiatric Association, and the Psychotherapy Action Network, because they could see the trouble coming, that people will go into such a state over whether they can afford the numbers that they're seeing, the fright of seeing the numbers that they're seeing ahead. And it may cost them less depending on what's being done. So estimates are, like you go for an insurance quote, you get an estimate. How much would it cost to fix my car? An estimate. Usually it costs more, but sometimes you get away with a little bit less, but usually it costs more. That's what estimates do. They give you this number, and then you get the real number later on. So yeah, posting or letting patients know is a good thing. Yeah, letting them know what it is a good thing. But somehow estimates, I mean, to me, it's a good thing, and it could be a bad thing, depending on of course, on the patient. So yeah, I could see where this could, where people go to their doctors, whether their doctors take their health coverage, whether they seek out medical help, if they don't think they can afford it, they don't think their coverage will accept it. If this could cause, until people settle into it, somehow, big problem. That's just, I mean, I can see where the mental health professionals not too thrilled about this, but yeah. And that's right. Sometimes a diagnosis can take time, and it can change the course of treatment. That's one of the sentences I'm reading in this article. And yes, that's true. So your estimate of, say, $300 could suddenly become $500 or more. And people want to, that could be iffy for some people. They really could, especially if you suddenly change the treatment and next thing is your health coverage doesn't want to pick it up. I've had that. Health coverage not covering the cost of an exam. I went for an eye exam a couple of years ago, gave them my health coverage. Okay. Was about 3 years ago? 4. Next thing is I knew I had to pay something. That was okay. Next thing is I'm getting a bill from the doctor because his charge was turned down. I paid like $175. Next thing is I'm getting a bill for like $350 in the mail. And no, I gave you my coverage. No one told anyone to bill for that much. But okay, I didn't know the cost going in. I had asked them, they didn't tell me. So yes, patients do want to know what to expect going in. And that can be scary. But sometimes, like I said, most average thing, look at that dent in your car and how many people you see driving around with the damage, because they don't have the insurance to fix it. They can't afford to do it. So this will be an iffy one. That's all I know. That will be an iffy one coming up. What else is going on here? Oh, this one here I enjoyed. I could not believe that no one else could see this one coming. Anyway, this was a February 1st article, but it could be timeless. It will be timeless because The practice will continue. And it says remote learning led to rampant cheating at New York City's Stuyvesant High School. Well, now, remote learning leads to cheating. Oh my. Stuyvesant High School students cheated at an elite level during remote learning. Remote learning led to routine cheating at the city's most competitive high school, where 79% of last year's students, senior class, copped to academic dishonesty at some point. What did you expect to happen? What did anyone expect to happen? Of course, kids are going to cheat. Kids have been passing notes around the classroom for as long as there were classrooms. That's what kids do. And I don't mean just little kids. People cheat. People cheat all the time. Teachers in more recent times have caught students texting each other in class to find out what the answer is. You can't just whisper anymore. So yeah, that's going to happen. What do you expect to do? Your class of whatever amount of students is sitting at home looking at their computer on a laptop or a desktop. Meantime, their cell phones are in a group text, a group chat with all their friends, and they're all sharing the answers. What else can it possibly be? How do you expect that not to happen? That makes no sense. So, well, a lot of kids got busted. I'm not really sure. And I'm not really sure what the answer to the problem is, but but they just managed to cheat. What a surprise. Oh well. Maybe next school season will be better. Maybe they'll fix it over summer. Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. Kids cheating. Oh well. Trying to think, did I ever pass a note to a kid with an answer? I know I was in public school, so yeah, I probably whispered to a kid, what do you think? Like a multiple choice thing. But actually passing notes, no, that wasn't my style. Somehow I got the impression that the kid next to me was smarter than I was. I was usually wrong about it. So, oh my, oh my, oh my. Okay, what else? There's no particular order of how I'm going to read this. So let's get to I don't know. Let's get to I don't know what the hell we're going to get to. Let's get to an equally stupid story. And unfortunately, people died. Okay, the headline is, this one came out yesterday. 4 dead in fiery crash after driver speeds away from police at 169 miles an hour. That's the headline. It says 4 people in a Dodge Charger died and 2 others were injured in a fiery wreck that occurred after a driver sped away from police at 169 miles an hour on a Georgia highway early Sunday. All right. A Monroe County deputy spotted the car zipping along at 102. How do they know this? 102. But okay, the radar can work that good? Okay. On I-75 just after midnight before the driver increased his speed to 137. All this is according to WSBTV.com. The deputy tried to pull over the Charger, but instead of stopping, the driver hit the gas even harder, got to 169. Wow. Well, he pulled away from the police car. I'll give you that. 169. But in a few minutes later, the car crashed into the woods along a nearby exit ramp. Well, exit ramps usually have a little bit of turn to it. You can't do turns at 169, not like that. Nope, 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 nope. 2 men were pulled from the car, hospitalized, conditions not known yet. The other 4 were dead at the scene. What? Oh, they also recovered 3 guns from the wreckage. No wonder they were doing 169. 169. Well, as much as I want to have sympathy for people, sometimes I just can't. It's just the way it goes. I'm sorry about that, but sometimes you just can't. Speaking Well, there were a few stories here that just threw me off. Okay, let's get to a couple of really bad ones here because some of them are just outright insane. Every now and then, someone hears the voices in their head. You know what I mean? This one here says, this is from February 5th. Michigan mom says SpongeBob told her to kill her 3-year-old daughter. SpongeBob SquarePants, you know the cartoon on TV. Michigan mom whose 3-year-old daughter was found dead in the trash bag told investigators that SpongeBob ordered her to kill the child or she would face death herself. Justine Johnson, 22 years old, allegedly stabbed young Sutton Masser multiple times on September 16th, 2 days after the child's 3rd birthday, before stuffing her body into a black trash bag after she was hallucinating due to weeks of heroin withdrawal and lack of sleep. Aha. So pretty much, she was, for whatever reason, off of heroin without help with her child. Okay. And she hallucinated. And she heard the voices. And of course, she didn't remember the specifics. That she was experiencing hallucinations due to heroin withdrawal and not sleeping for approximately 2 weeks. Well, that's pretty bad on its own. I mean, you're 22, there's got to be someone in the family who can help you with the kid if you can't sleep. Why aren't you getting help for getting off of heroin? But okay, you elected to stay with the kid. And SpongeBob, you heard the voices. A cartoon or a doll, doesn't say, told you to kill your daughter. And it's incredible to me because whenever I hear about stories of someone hearing voices, where they hear one voice and they're completely schizophrenic, and they hear multiple voices from all different sounds and voices, why is it always telling someone to kill somebody? Why is it every time you hear about a voice in someone's head, it's telling you to kill somebody? And she listened to SpongeBob and killed her daughter instead of saying to herself, I'd rather die myself than with SpongeBob, or whatever the situation is. But yeah, the kid is gone. Yeah, this is what it is. I have yet to hear someone. There are mental conditions. There are medical and mental and psychiatric conditions where people with a disorder, they do perform uncontrollable good deeds. There are. There's a disease for every occasion. There's something for everyone. But anytime I've ever heard of anyone hearing a voice, it is always to kill somebody. I never understood. I never understood that. The voices never say, let's order another dinner. The voices never say, let's go to sleep early. The voices never say a lot of things. The voices always somehow usually tell you to kill somebody. This time, this poor kid got it. You want sympathy? I gave it to this kid. Oh my, oh my, oh my. What else is going on? What else is going on here? Let's see. We're going to do the most vile story. Well, that is pretty bad. I'll give you that's pretty bad. But I'm going to go with that woman was sick. All right. Several factors are involved. It's sad as to what happened, but she's sick. And this is what happened. That's not an excuse. It's a fact. Let's go to people who are clear-headed, healthy, supposedly intelligent. And this comes from February 6th, and it says, company sues man on life support with COVID in order to recoup a loan. And this is a Bronx landlord who's clinging to life thanks to COVID-19, was slapped with 2 lawsuits over $23,000 on a high interest loan. He was forced to take out during the pandemic, and that was due to the rent moratorium. The lending company Premier Capital Funding LLC is hunting down Jeffrey Schneider, who is on life support, to pay $58,000 for the loan he took out in May through his company, Remy Realty Corporation, and says the landlord of a rent-controlled building in the Bronx sought the $23,000 lifeline when his struggling tenants stopped paying rent. He managed to pay back 25 of the roughly 35,000 he owed on a high-interest loan before coronavirus hit. The debt started out with the merchant receiving 23. He has now exploded into $85,000 debt. Even though he's already paid 25,000 of it back, and I guess interest and penalties and all that. And now this man's laying there trying to breathe, and the company, I guess, is attaching it in cases that, well, the building is his estate. So, if they let him die before it happens, they may get screwed. So they're suing him now, so it's attached to the estate. That's all it could be. That is all this could be. The virus, he's on a ventilator, extracorporeal life support, which is a ECMO machine. Okay, well, pretty much he's hooked up to the wires right now. That's what's keeping him alive. And he's on this even though he was fully vaccinated. But I cannot believe there's a guy on life support who is sitting there, probably not even aware of what's going on. And this company is looking to sue to have it on the books in case he dies. It'll probably be attached to the estate, because anything an estate gets, right, after someone dies, there's a property, there's money, anything, expenses must be paid off. So they snuck this one in. That is disgusting. That is truly disgusting. And that's what's going on up in the Bronx today. Tell me about your week. Matter of fact, we do have comments on the YouTube page. We do have comments available on our Facebook page. Feel free to leave one, or you can email me, upfrontfrank@gmail.com. I'm pretty easy that way. Send me a comment, send me a question. I'll be happy to address it. That's easy enough. Just strikes me odd about how people work. Oh man. In comparison to primates. Primates are different. Animals in the woods are different. It's just, this is the way it goes, right? I was reading an article about, they were looking at primates, chimpanzees, apes, gorillas, so on and so on. And after observation and study, they found that all of them, not all, but plenty of them, were tending to each other's wounds, like medicine. They were like taking care of it. And what they were doing was, if they saw an injury, a cut, something, they observed the apes or chimpanzees reaching out, grabbing a bug, it turned to be what they figured was an insect, and applying it to the lip of the other, or handing it to the one who was hurt, and they put a bug. And they've been noticing for years that primates have been using insects as medicine to treat wounds. There's something in the insect that helps them. That's great. But unlike humans who sue people on event, apes don't look to collect money. Matter of fact, nothing else on Earth looks to collect money. Go figure that out, right? I'm glad I got my thumb, but it seems to be, more I observe, I'd rather give back the thumb. Well, what can I say? What can I say? What is this here? I'm looking at all these stories. I don't even know what to talk about first, to be quite honest. Okay, let's see. The Spotify CEO says man he gave 100 million to does not represent values of his company, that he's referring to Joe Rogan. And that's Spotify CEO Daniel Ek, who wrote a memo to employees about the controversy surrounding Joe Rogan and his podcast after they removed over 100 episodes of his show from over the weekend that reportedly contain racial slurs, which you've already heard on the news. So we don't have to go into all of that. We already know what it is. It's been all over the news everywhere. But they're not letting him go. He's still there. He is still on. He is still on Spotify. He's still in this contract that gets him roughly, give or take, $100 million, where most people would have been thrown to the curb immediately. Yeah, so Joe Rogan seems to be bulletproof, because between all the problems he's had with his talking in the past about his information of COVID-19, and now with what he's talking about with his racial words, even though he was quoting other people and from other articles and everything else, and yes, he has given that apology on his Instagram page. Yes, I heard that one. Most people, whether they're reading it from a book, quoting others, or anything else, don't get to stay. They just don't get to stay. And which is the hypocrisy of it all, because Joe Rogan makes money for Spotify. Even though they're paying him a lot, he makes them a lot. Because unless his viewership really goes down, he has roughly 11 million viewers every time he goes on the air, or listeners, I should say. No views, his video attached to it. So yeah, that's interesting enough. Sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. Speaking of not having it, may not have it that much longer at Amazon, because they're raising their annual price for their Prime membership to $139. Yeah, Amazon is raising the price. This comes from, by the way, CNN Business, excuse me. Amazon is raising the price of its annual Prime subscriptions from $119 to $139 per year in the United States. The company announced along with its earnings report Thursday the price of a monthly subscription will increase from $12.99 to $14.99. You got the idea. You got the idea. The company last raised its prices in 2018 when it bumped the annual membership up from $99. And the latest price hike represents a 17% increase. All right, you got it. You got the idea. It's not like they haven't got enough money. But all right, well, now there's also their live streams, their films. They do film production. They do a lot of things now. Amazon is not just shopping anymore. And now they're looking for ways to make it up. But then again, I've been looking on Amazon for certain things lately. They're not always such great deals anymore. Just keep that in mind. It's convenient. I know. Someone brings it to you, they deliver it to your door if possible, or they leave it in your building, in the lobby, or wherever it is that you get your packages delivered to. It's there. It's convenient, but it may not be the best deal in town anymore. I've noticed that with a few of the things I've been buying that maybe I won't be getting on Amazon anymore. A lot of things you can get just by walking around the block or taking a little trip to the store or somewhere else. Yeah. My chair is catching the wood of my desk. That squeaky sound. Yeah, Amazon is not the bargain basement it used to be. So yeah, be careful with what you're doing out there. Enjoy what you can. Enjoy everything enjoy it as best you can, but be careful and don't think it's the beginning and end of all shopping, because it's not. It's just another outlet. As big as it is, it's just another outlet. So even though they make an incredibly amount of profit, their profits went up 9% from a year ago quarter to 137.4 billion. Excuse me. Yeah, that fell just shy of the forecast of 137.6 billion. So yeah, we know they're making a couple of dollars here and there. Just for your own personal shopping, be careful, especially if there's a lot of places where you can go locally and you'll save money overall. You're out and about anyway. Think it over. Oh my. Yeah, it's coming up on almost 40 minutes of talking about this. I can't believe it. Well, let's see. Let's get into something stupid because I could use a little laugh. Okay, what is this here? Mom gets ruler tattoo to measure penis sizes before sex. A tool to enhance my life, she says. British woman believes size matters, so she got a new tattoo to prove it. Tracy Kiss. That's a good name. Tracy Kiss, 34 years old, stunned family members and friends after having a ruler tattoo inked down her forearm, inch, half inch, to measure the length of her possible partners. Well, okay. She's a sex-minded mom, was a 14-year-old daughter, and she told us to jam press, and she's looking for a well-endowed boyfriend. A new body art is a practical design and tool. I mean, she can do a lot of things. She could measure that. She could measure shoes. She can do a lot of things. She can go she can see if something is long enough. She wants to buy something for the house. She could do a lot of things with this tattoo. I think it's funny. Now, as she gets older and the skin stretches a little bit, the tattoo may get a little bit, little off. But yeah, that's what she's got. A ruler on her arm. Now, there's no numbers. She's not telling you what the numbers are, so she knows. But it's just dots. Inch, half inch, half. That's what she's done. Oh, man. Oh, well, look at this picture. There she is with her cell phone, and there's her daughter looking at her like she's crazy. Want to know why kids are fucked up? Look at the parents. This kid gets to go to school, and for show and tell, this is a picture of my mom's arm. Let me tell you what she does with it. Oh boy, gotta love people. They give me my entertainment, as sad as they may be. This one I find pretty sad for different reasons. In England, St. Albans, England's oldest pub, the Old Fighting Cocks, is closed. That's pretty bad. Christo Tafali, who runs the Old Fighting Cocks in St. Albans Herts, said the move came after challenging trading conditions due to COVID-19. This pub opened in 793 AD. You got that? 793 AD. That's how long this is open. Now, I'm not saying it's the original shack. I'm sure they have, enhanced the structure one way or another till they actually have a building. But in this spot, this business has been there since 793 AD. It's never supposed to close. Somehow, this is not supposed to close. I'm sure someone will be taking it over under, new ownership or whatever. But that from the lineage of ownership, that this is closing. Wow. Why do I feel the government, of all the things the government wastes money paying for, I got to believe this should be one of the things that should get a little something from the government. I really do. How many businesses do you know? How many places can you think of that are open since 793 AD? It's wow. Yeah, somehow they should be bailed out, allowed to stay in business. Holy crap. So anyway, we'll reopen with new owners. Well, new owners will change things. New owners always change things. But yeah, well, that's pretty sad. I don't know. I just got to believe that this place should be bailed out. I find that very sad. At least I do anyway. Anyone watching the Olympics, as I mentioned before, I know I'm looking at the skiing, but in today's news, 15-year-old Camilla Veliva makes Olympic history with a quad jump, excuse me, in figure skating. I was watching the clip of this. Yeah, she's doing her routine and she went effortlessly, went up in the air, did 4 spins, landed perfectly, and they will be talking about this one for the longest time. She has set the new standard at 15 years old. This is it. Someone at some point in time will be looking for 5. Quint, a quint jump, because she did it. She did a quad. She did 4 spins in perfect fashion. Congratulations to her. Let's see, 5:43. Look at us going over here. Well, let's talk about, once again, the internet. Let's get to sports for a minute. I'll need a drink for this one. You've heard me say it before. Anything the internet touches, it ruins. Anything, no matter what. I'm looking at, well, I get a lot of my stories through the New York Post because they pick up a lot of articles, a lot of stories from other places. This one here is comes out of Chicago. It says the Chicago Cubs are in talks to launch streaming service amid resistance from Major League Baseball. They want to stream their games on the internet. I understand why. There's a police car. I understand why. They'll probably put up a pay subscription service. They will charge people to watch their games. Otherwise, you can go to MLB.com or ESPN.com and watch it that way. But no, they will put it up because Cubs fans are just that, fans, fanatics. They are the Cubs. That's their team. You know what happens when you put this on the internet? You save the money on the expensive tickets, the expensive hot dogs, the expensive beer, the expensive everything of going to a baseball game, parking, whatever the kids may want to get. You got to buy the kids a souvenir, and people won't have to spend, I don't blame them either, roughly their paychecks to go to a baseball game. And that part I understand. But somehow, when you put all this stuff on the internet, people lose jobs. Make no mistake, people lose jobs, not just the vendors in the stadium. I'm sure people will also go to the game. Not everyone's staying home, but if the crowds are less, that means businesses surrounding Wrigley Field also suffer. Whether it's the bar or the diner or wherever you get your food to eat before the game or after the game. Parking lots, whatever goes on around a stadium can be affected by this. Vendors, people lose jobs. If it works in Chicago, someone will try it in other ballparks. That's why Major League Baseball is sort of hesitating to give the okay on this one, or at least trying to talk them out of it. Because once it goes on the web, people suffer. That's just fact-based. That's just the way it is with restaurants. It's the way it is everywhere. A lot of people now have their food and their stuff delivered to their house. They don't go to the stores. They don't go to restaurants locally. You used to order a pizza from a place 2 blocks away. Now you order it from wherever you see online, and someone brings it from God knows where. Where I live, there were 2 grocery stores, 2 little delis on each corner. And I saw someone getting a delivery of paper towels from 40 blocks away. I saw the receipt of where it came from. I was curious. And that's where it came from, because they wouldn't cross the street and get it themselves. Imagine if you don't have to fight traffic to go to a baseball game and save money on tickets, parking, and everything that goes on inside of a stadium. I could see it now. I could see where it's going. But anyway, That's what's going on there. That is sports. And oh, by the way, speaking of money, I got this one from NPR. This comes from yesterday, from February 6th. It says the US is considering a radical rethinking of the dollar for today's digital world. And it says since its establishment of the country's national currency, the dollar has undergone many updates and changes, but nothing compares to the proposal being debated today. The US is gingerly considering whether to adopt a legal version of its currency, one better suited for today's increasingly cashless world, ushering in what would be one of the dollar's most fundamental transformations. In that scenario, the United States would not only mint the coins and print paper bills, but also issue digital cash, or a central bank digital currency. Got to keep up with everything online. That would be stored in apps or digital wallets on your smartphone. Well, you could look that one up. That's what's going on there. They want to changing it again. And how would it work? Says policymakers stress these are early days yet. There are a lot that needs to be hammered out. All in all, transactions conducted with digital dollars probably wouldn't seem too different from existing private alternatives that allow us to pay for things by bringing our smartphones to the next digital reader. So people pay with Venmo, they pay with their credit card on their cell phone, they pay a lot of ways using their phone. Personally, I would probably weld the phone to my body, hammer and nail it to my body, because if you lose the phone, you can lose everything, every last thing. So this is something to be careful of. I understand that the world changes all the time and people want to keep up, but be very careful with what goes on, because that really, really could be dangerous. Oh, by the way, speaking of world changing and dangerous, I finally got my free mask from I went to CVS and I got the free mask, and I got one from my local pharmacy, which is Thompson Chemist at 132 Thompson Street, Manhattan. And I got my free mask. Wait, I'm going to hold it up for you. I have to get used to these over here, because they go on these little straps. They don't go ear, they go top to bottom. So I have to get used to how to use them. But do you see these little holes in the front? There they are. I could see it. You see them? Okay. This is a pretty heavy, pretty thick. I wouldn't mind having it as a shirt. Pretty thick piece of cloth. Those little holes are a little bit thinned out so you can get air and breathe. Now, I was wearing, by the way, this is what I look like. This is what I sound like wearing the mask. I wish it came in a different color. But okay. But I'm wearing this thing for a little while. It's tough to breathe. Everyone I know is saying it's tough to breathe. CVS, and as with some other chains, got their version of the mask, which, oh, by the way, this one comes from the company Honeywell, which besides making animal cages and missiles and makes a whole host of other things we use every day, they're now making masks. This one comes from a company, this is called Drager. I don't know what that means. Let's open it up and find out, because we were only supposed to get 3. I walked in yesterday to my local place, got 3. I knew somebody else who was working today, went in today, got 3. So this 3 thing, don't worry about picking up 30 of them. Just keep going back. Okay, this one here, this one works like all the K95s. You can see it. There's that little seam, right? You see that? That little seam that folds it in half? That's what funnels up everything going up into your eyes. Like in the beginning, when people would say they have glasses with fog, because this is here, and this would funnel everything up. And this is what I'm sounding like to you with a mask. Am I sounding muffled, Jade? A little bit? Am I doing something? Yeah, I'm a little muffled, but you can hear me well enough. And if I really have to get it out, I'll just pull the mask away. Anyway, so again, we have the straps. I'm not quite sure why, but I'll learn how to use them because I'm a klutz. We don't have the band in like we have the disposable mask. Here we have the metal band, which is both inside and a nice little piece of cloth in there out of consideration so it doesn't screw your face up. Okay. Because you don't want that mark on your nose. We save that for eyeglasses. But what I'm noticing is, again, a nice thick piece of cloth, again, wouldn't mind it as a shirt, is that when you put it on, it's sort of tough to breathe. Now, it's still cold outside. There's a big wind. So yeah, the air will, I'll get some air in there. But come that nice hot weather, that nice summertime weather, will start coming to us in a few months. Well, yeah, we'll see how people breathe in that. That'll be a good one. But anyway, there are free masks available if you want to get them. I got mine in one of the CVS's around town, but they should be in, I guess if one has it, I guess most of them have it. You can also get it, I believe is it Walgreens and Kroger's, or is it Walmart? Yeah, you could look it up, and free masks. They are available. But then again, I know the new advisory is that cloth masks no longer work. When people were dying, they said put on a cloth. This is why I never really get my medical advice from the news. When people were going to the hospitals every day, and so many were dying, was wear a mask. And we had videos. Everyone was making videos, taking material out of old denim, old T-shirts, folding them properly, doing all kinds of things. Excuse me. And making a mask for themselves became a big thing, a big trendy thing. And even the recommendations were, yeah, cloth masks is wear, it's better than nothing, and that was okay. You were pushing for it. Now we get the disposable masks, which I have plenty of those also. And now they're supposedly not the greatest of things. Now you're supposed to have the N95, the KN95, the KN94. I'm going back to Jade's idea of putting on a scuba helmet on my head, like I'm in a fishbowl. And maybe I'll put in 2 layers of it, like a trick glass, so I can fill the in-between layer with water and put a little goldfish in there. Because why not? I certainly don't believe, I don't believe what the news tells me. I know, follow the science, which I do. I check in. I just can't follow it every day because it changes too often. And I will spend all my money on things like this. I'm trying to think. This one sort of reminds me of like if you go to paint the house. See that shape? That's what it looks like. What do I know? Well, that's what's going on today. Maybe I'll use my fake radio voice just for a little bit. I talk to you about this week's show as all the horrors of people with mental disorders are coming out, and there are Nazis in Tennessee burning books. And as you can hear me now using my fake radio voice, I leave you with all of this and to tell you to continue to try laughing. Because if you read whatever's out there, I find the oddest of odd stories that really don't make it to the front page. Oh, before I go, there is one story which I didn't get to read, and I should. And this is probably the best story of the week. And I don't know how I didn't get to it. In medical advancements, this is better than everything. In medical advancements, they're putting implants into people who are handicapped, who can't walk, can't feel their legs. And they're putting implants into the spine. And now I'm looking at people walking. They're walking. I couldn't believe it. I think that's fantastic. They put a little, I'm not even sure the name of this. I didn't even see the name of it. But I'm watching a video of somebody who could not feel their legs or anything else. And they said within the day, they're having movement and they're bending their legs. A lot of therapy later to get used to what they're doing, and they're up and they're walking. Now they're using a walker. It's not like a clean stride like you and I have, but they are walking. Here's the story. Let me get quick information here before I get thrown out. Let me see. Yeah, it says new spinal cord stimulation study puts people with paralysis on their feet again. You can find that on the CNN health page. And this is what it is. This guy is using a walker, leaning on it. And I was listening to the video, and he could walk just about a mile before he has to stop. This is this particular guy, but they're going to continue to keep. They used 3 people so far, ages 29 to 41, and they're going to be using. They're going to try to get some more volunteers. They're going to try to get more, and they're going to see where they can go with this. This is exciting. This is good technology. This is not another video game for you to play. This is not virtual reality, people. This guy is really walking. And yeah, go to the CNN health page, new spinal cord stimulation. You could Google that just as well. I think that's fascinating. I think it's a great story and something worth paying attention to. And that's all I got to say. I will see everybody next week. Don't forget, guys, this weekend, Valentine's Day is coming up. Ladies, gentlemen, don't mess it up. We're not talking about a lot. A card, a little chocolate, a flower, it don't hurt. It won't change your lifestyle, and it'll save you a lot of grief later on. Don't mess it up. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody listening, and in advance. And I will see all of you. And I want to hear some Valentine stories. I'm going to hold Jade to this one. She's going to tell me some Valentine stories. Oh, yeah, she has her eyebrows up. Like, what am I going to tell? Yep, you're going to. We're taking notes, kid. We're taking notes. And that's what's going on. Okay, I will see everybody next week. You can find us on YouTube in a little while. We're going to upload the program just perfectly. You can find us, as always, on Spreaker.com, up front with Frank Rothstein. And if you go to our YouTube page, please hit the subscribe button. Every one of you hitting that subscribe button helps out. Pick a show you like, hit the like button. You'll appreciate it. And that's what we got. All right, everyone, have a good night. I'll see you next week.